Finally, we arrive at the first game, ladies and gentlemen. The year is 2019 and the history takes place in Ruby's house, the granddaughter of Esther and also the game's protagonist. One night, when Ruby's father, David, puts her on bed, Ruby asks him to remove the Mr. Hopp from her bedroom because the toy scares her. Her father tells her that she is being silly and that Mr. Hopp is a special gift from her grandmother, whom they affectionately call Nana. David continues to say that the toy was made by Ruby's grandma and asks what she would think if she saw Ruby rejecting the toy. Ruby has a strong bond with her grandmother, and despite her fear, she ends up allowing Mr. Hopp to stay in the bedroom. To calm the girl, her father leaves the light on before leaving, but suddenly the light starts flickering and the toy disappears. Frightened, Ruby calls for her parents, but without answer, she gets up and goes to the bedroom. Ruby manages to reach her parents' bedroom, but finds it empty. Ruby decides to go back to her bedroom because she thought it was just a nightmare, but on the way, she sees a giant Mr. Hopp wandering through the dark hallways. Ruby then decides that the best thing to do is to leave the house. She reaches the front door, but it's locked, and suddenly she hears her mother crying. Ruby decides to search for the key to the door and her mother. After roaming through the house, she finds a cassette player in the basement with the message under the mirror written on it. From this point, Ruby collects 5 more tapes recorded by her father, which are scattered through the house and will help us understand what is happening. The tapes reveal that Esther hadn't been well lately, and Ruby's family had been visiting her regularly. Esther was behaving strangely, and when questioned about it, she didn't seem to know what they were talking about. One day, when they were going to visit her, they found the house dirty and messy. Esther didn't seem capable of taking care of the place or herself, so David and Jenna decide to take Esther to the hospital for a checkup. The next day, they found out that Esther was already in the hospital and the police had been called by neighbors who heard her screaming. Ruby's parents told her that her grandmother had fallen and gotten hurt. David and Jenna took their daughter to see Esther the following day, and that's when Esther, influenced by the auntie, handed Mr. Hopp to Ruby.
Hello? Ruby? It's Mark from next door. Is everything okay there? I've been trying to call for hours. Hello? Ruby?
Esther passed away 2 days later, but the doctors couldn't determine the cause of death. David and Jenna were hesitant to tell Ruby, who loved her grandmother dearly, but they knew they couldn't hide it from her. Ruby didn't react too well to the news and would shot Mr. Hopp with her slingshot, claiming she was defending herself from him. Her parents confiscated the slingshot and locked it in a safe. They genuinely didn't understand why Ruby kept doing it and were growing concerned about her. But Ruby knew that the toy was dangerous. Ruby finds the key and goes to the closet to open the safe. She needs a specific combination to unlock it, which happens to be the girl's birthday. This information can be found on the calendar in the kitchen. Ruby enters the code, retrieves the slingshot, and sets out to find Mr. Hopp to confront him. She finds the rabbit and shoots at it multiple times, seemingly defeating him. From this point, we can do two different endings for the game. In the first ending, after defeating Mr. Hopp, Ruby heads towards the front door to escape. However, before she does it, she hears her grandmother's voice calling her to come and give her a kiss. Ruby decides to approach the voice out of curiosity. She sees her grandmother waiting in the hallway, but suddenly she turns into a monstrous Mr. Hopp, who begins to chase the girl. We see glimpses of the underworld, with her hands reaching out to catch Ruby. However, she manages to run towards the exit. Ruby successfully escapes, but the police arrive and instruct her to stay where she is. Ruby then gets into the police car, and as she looks out the window, she sees Mr. Hopp staring at her, angry that the girl was managed to survive. This is the non-canonical ending of the game. If Ruby has found matches and lighter fluid along the way, she can ignite the house and then head to the door, where she encounters her grandmother and escapes from the entity. After escaping, we can see that the entire house is consumed by the flames. Ruby hears Mr. Hopp's voice, begging her to save him, to save her family. We see a glimpse of Mr. Hopp's hand through the window amidst the blaze, implying that he perished in this ending. Now, there is one final ending left to discuss, but don't worry, it's non-canonical. Remember when Ruby decided that she should find a way to leave the house? Well, there is a secret ending that can be unlocked at this point. If Ruby believes that the appearance of Mr. Hopp was just a nightmare, she will return to her bedroom and go back to sleep, unlocking the secret ending called Sleep Tight. Ruby insisted it was all a bad dream and went back to bed. Maybe that was a mistake.